Introduction to ETs and the Explorer Race. The purpose of this book that you are holding in your hands is to guide you toward acceptance of the differences among you all, as well as acceptance of the wide variety of life that the universe has in store for you. It is ironic that the Zeta beings, of whom Jupa is a portion, regard you as their past lives, but you have not yet come to terms with their appearance. If we could have you change for a moment your attitude about who's an ET and who isn't, then imagine that all the animals and insects, the butterflies, birds, deer, fish, all these beings on your Earth right now, are from other planets, which, as a matter of fact, they are, and that on their planets they have their own cultures and perhaps appear differently. Now imagine for a moment that the ETs have arrived in a flying saucer and landed, proverbially, on the White House lawn. But nobody comes out of the ship. Security guards, the press, maybe the president are all there to say, "Well, who's here?" Nothing happens. And the people don't know what to do. They wait for a while as the beings inside the craft are projecting goodwill and telepathic resonance and so on. Nothing happens, and the beings inside the ship realize, wait a minute, these people don't understand telepathy. How are we going to communicate with them? So they have a discussion on board and they say, we'll have to invite them aboard, because we surely could not go out there. So they open the door just a little bit, with a buzz buzz buzz, and someone comes up the stairs and peeps in, possibly someone with security, possibly a person from the State Department, maybe a diplomat, and walks inside the ship. Of course, it's unusual. Its inner corridors and everything tend to be somewhat circular by the nature of the shape of the vehicle. They walk in a little bit farther. It's kind of damp and humid in there. Not what you would expect if you were expecting a vehicle crammed with electronics, but the electronics are not apparent. So this diplomat looks around the ship, and suddenly, over against a far wall there is a low hum. A panel slides away, and the diplomat finds himself or herself looking at what is basically a fish tank, with fish swimming around in there. The diplomat thinks, oh, these ETs are trying to show something in common. That they carry pets just like Earth people have pets. But suddenly, because he's within the insulated environs of the ship, he hears a voice in his head. It says, "What pets? We're the ETs." I mention this to you because in order for you to appreciate the appearance of ETs, and granted, many of them look very much like you, but they don't all, you need to begin to accept as equals what you call animals. Just because you don't understand their language and their ways of being and their attitudes, this kind of thing is proof that they are from someplace else, they are not from your culture. Begin to consider what you call animals, especially insects like ants. Ants are some of the most advanced creatures on your planet. If you can begin to consider them as extraterrestrials who are just visiting here, serving you as you evolve toward being the explorer race, then you will truly begin to appreciate that ETs might very well look very different. Now, the chances of your meeting an ant 3 stories tall are 0. Granted, they are a little bit larger on their home planet, but by larger, I mean maybe only 2 or 3 inches long. But they have no need for great size, because on their home planet they do not have the wealth of resources you have here. They can't be too big, otherwise there wouldn't be enough to go around. I want you to understand that the next leap you really have to make is accepting ETs for how they look, because nobody, and many of you reading this know this, likes to be rejected just because of the way they look. So practice with each other. Learn how to accept each other and to be curious about each other's differences, and in this way you will be preparing truly to meet your ET friends. Zoosh through Robert Shapiro. 1. The explorer race is ready. Zoosh. Sedona, Arizona, August 10, 1987. This planet was populated by 144,000 original visitors. It doesn't make any difference what you call them, souls, beings, people, entities or anything else. Those 144,000 came from an area of the universe that you refer to as Sirius. Since then there have been other stimulations from other planetary sources. It is as though your race, the human race in all its variations, has been on a clock that has allowed you to experience all the variations and ramifications of both positivity and negativity, meaning comfort and discomfort. This clock is now coming to strike the hour, and that striking will mean alignment. Some of your scientists have noticed that the Earth seems to wobble somewhat on its axis. Well, I can assure you that over the next few years this wobbling will begin to align itself. And since you are a portion of Earth, even though you can trace your roots back there, we would say that you will be coming into alignment as well. For Earth does not stand apart from you. All of your physical body and some portions of your soul, which is in your body as well as elsewhere, are made up of Earth stuff. It will not be possible for the corpuscles of your body, for instance, to decide not to align. Well, the rest of the body can get into alignment if it wants, but not the corpuscles. We're going to take time off. You, in an expanded sense, are the corpuscles of the Earth body. You will have an opportunity to come into alignment with Earth, and you have chosen, being descendants of the 144,000, to do it now. Why now? Because the cosmic clock as well as the grounded Earth clock are coming into a state of alignment. There was a choice made by those who originally came here to seed this planet with what has turned into you, to allow the human race to have all the possibilities that could be experienced on this planet. This means all the comforts and all the discomforts that could be felt in any person anywhere. If you do not choose to experience a comfort or discomfort, you may read about it, hear about it, know about it or see it. The choice has been made to brew up a recipe, in a sense, and you are the cookies that are coming out of the oven. It is that simple. Why have you chosen, as souls in harmony with Earth and the All, to be here? What is ascension? It is allowing you to come into your true value. Your race, the human race, has been created to be a group of explorers. Babies are curious, all right? To find out what is natural to any human being, look at babies. Certain emotions, certain feelings and certain experiences are natural, they are felt and demonstrated. So this is a time when you can begin to express your curiosity about everything in a way that will be more comfortable and connected to the All. You might say that the Earth is like a yo-yo. The All has been playing with it, up and down, up and down. In a sense, now the yo-yo is going to come and join the hand. Instead of seeming separated from the All, or whatever name you wish to call it, God, Goddess, all that is, now Earth becomes a finger. A promotion, you might say. So in that sense Earth will be allowed to join in the game and doesn't have to be the ball anymore. The value of struggle and discomfort. Why is this experience occurring to your Earth now? It is so you can do what needs to be done in the universe, so you can explore, so you can be curious and so you can bring your curiosity to other races. Many races that exist in the universe have developed an infrastructure that seeks to perfect from within, but they have lost their interest in going elsewhere and blending with all the beings of the universe. The only way that type of being, you, could be produced is through struggle. The experience of struggle, foreign though it may be to most of the rest of the universe, has created what is sitting here now. I will not say that struggle is good and that you should go for more struggle. I will say, however, that you are the combined effort of these emotions of discomfort and comfort. You naturally seek comfort, some of you in one way, some in another. But in order to bring your gift to the universe and the galactic beings of beyond, it will be necessary to have a lust for life, and that comes about through the experience of cherishing life, which comes from having a given period of life. You are born, and you die, yes? Of course, your soul continues, there is never, never a break with that. And your soul is essentially your personality, but it's devoid of discomfort. This is why when you meet someone you've never met before, they seem familiar. Maybe you met in a past life or something. The reason they seem familiar is because as a personality they had so much impact on you in the past life that you recognize that personality. The personality is more than what is said, how it's said or the motions of the body. It is the energy of the body, the soul, the aura that glows from within and without and mingles with the earth. You recognize it immediately. I know you from somewhere. Who are you? Understand this. You have been created. Many of your books refer to it. You have been created not against your will but as a dynamic instrument of being who would want to survive, who would appreciate life and enjoy all of its variables. You could say, if I had it my way, I'd be rich with a house on a hill. Perhaps some of you might say, if I had my way I'd be out on the open road. I don't need a house, I'm happy with what I've got on my back. I'm happy just to go places and see new things. And perhaps some of you might say, I don't even need to go anywhere. I can lie here in my bed and imagine, and that's enough for me. Do you understand? All of the variables of humanity, everything in between and everything that can be imagined, have occurred here so you would appreciate life. Now I must reveal to you that the purpose of discomfort has been to create within you a desire to live. Why? Because often on other planets there is no desire to be in the body. You could say, well, Zoosh, these other planets I've heard about, read about, dreamed of, imagined and seen in my mind's eye seem to have a very high level of civilization, often overlaid with spirituality. And they're so smart. How do they get here from there? They seem to do so many things so much better than we do here. And I say to you, this may be so on the surface, but let's get below that. Below the surface are many races of beings who have lost their will to live physically. While you are physical beings, surely you are spiritual beings as well. Why are you in bodies? You are in bodies so you can experience physical life and assist other civilizations, in time physically, but for now spiritually and mentally and emotionally by being strong and by experiencing physical life by choice rather than by being sentenced to it. Many of you have said over the years, can't I just go back? They left me here. When's the next bus coming? I want to go back right now. I say to all you souls, you 144,000 and all the descendants, you volunteered to come here. You volunteered to come so you could create a hybrid civilization that would go elsewhere and bring its strength to infuse that strength into other civilizations that have begun to feel that physical life is of less value than spiritual life. I want you to recognize how you also sometimes consider that that might be so, and yet here you are in a physical body. So ascension is about coming into joy in the physical body, appreciating your physical body, appreciating physical life and allowing many of the past discomforts of physical life to drop away. It is unnecessary to extend a great deal of discomfort, you have finally got it. your race figured out that it really doesn't need to have that discomfort and could be really happy if it just kind of went away. You've got enough history. Anybody can go anywhere and find out that discomfort has existed in myriad ways, and in things you don't like to talk about in polite or even impolite company. That's because you need to want to live. How often do you hear about some fellow, some physical being, who suffered some grievous accident or some horrible injury, lived through it, made something of himself, and went on to tell everyone that he can do it too and not to give up? When you see that, what do you always feel, without regard to civilization, without regard to who you are? Every human being feels a little uplifted by that because of your heritage. Your physical body has inherited that. Spirit sings in your physical body because you know that's why you came here, to survive through hardship so that you could become a race that could exist anywhere under the harshest of conditions. And I assure you that on most planets with civilizations, the conditions are not as harsh as the extremes that are experienced here. If one of you can live at 60 degrees below zero and another one of you can live at 120 above, then you are all colored by that experience because it is in your genetic coding. If any of you do live at those extremes, it is to purify and strengthen the genetic code of the human being. You hear about UFOs and visitors from other planets and they're hanging around. What do they want from you? Mostly they want to see how you're coming along. Why are people taken aboard the ships and examined and talked to, whether you remember it or not? Because they want to see how you're coming along. They want to check the genetic code. They want to see if the soup is ready. Some of these individuals who do this taking aboard are from civilizations that currently exist. Some are from your future. Some of these beings are, in fact, your future selves in an incarnation that may not always look just like you. They are your future selves coming back to see how the race is getting along. Are they ready yet? You're ready now. The clock rings now, you're ready. That does not mean that the sky is going to be filled with UFOs and you will have space aliens living next door. It means that the universe as you know it, as you can imagine it and beyond your imagination, exists as a siren song. You look at the stars, everyone looks at the stars, and you say, I wish I could go there. I want to go there. I want to be there. What's up there? Is anybody looking at us right now? It is purposeful, this curiosity you have. You are ready. Space aliens are sitting in front of me right now. I assure you that your race did not develop naturally on this planet. You were seated here. There isn't anybody in this room right now or anyone else running around the surface of the planet who is in a variation of a human body that wasn't seated here. Your souls as well as your physical matter include, simply stated, the energy of elsewhere. It was a soul choice to come here, to create, in a sense, the messengers that will go out and bring back the lust for life to other civilizations. Those in other dimensions have, to some degree, not judgment as you understand it, but a variation of disdain that you might experience as a lack of interest about physical life. This physical life you are living is not some lowly thing. It is not easy, and that is purposeful, so that you will become what you are. How do other civilizations get here? They fly through dimensions. Do they fly through space and time? They fly through time, in a sense. A ship will be somewhere, it will come interdimensionally. You do not do that yet in ships, but in your sleep you do that all the time. You do not do it using ships yet because the soup you are is not ready yet. So you will have experiences in the coming years of more contact with your future and current fellows from other planets. You will become gradually aware that the reason there is no physical evidence for a missing link on this planet is because there never was a missing link. There was a civilization of sorts on this planet when the 144,000 arrived in their vehicle, and it was through the union of the 144,000 with those beings that you eventually resulted. It is true that civilizations have come and gone on the surface of this planet, but enough has happened so you can begin to become who you are now, in this life. You have been developed not only to visit other planets but to alter the energy of this planet so that it can slightly increase in vibration to the fourth dimension, so you can make more conscious motion through space and time at that dimension, and so that the universe does not feel the tug of disharmony at its sleeve. The tug has been there on purpose, though, so that the universe can come into balance. It is not just you who are coming into balance, it is the universe coming into balance through the civilizations on other planets who have lost their interest in physical life, saying, "Well, it's so slow. There is discomfort there. Who wants such a thing? Physical life seems boring. So much can be done on the spirit level." That is why many of these civilizations are on the wane. They're dying out, and the universe, in its great knowledge beyond your imagination, knows that any time any portion of life or civilization dies out, even though it will be repeated in a later variation, will never be repeated exactly. So there is loss, in a sense, speaking in time, and the universe does not really see that that is necessary. Why lose a civilization? Where are the Greeks? Where are the Egyptians? Where are the people who built the Great Pyramids, and so on? Where did the Acropolis come from, and why aren't those civilizations still with you? They died out. A loss, in a sense, a loss of knowledge, a loss of experience, because there are no books telling you how to whip together the Acropolis written by the original people who did it. There is no book called the Do-It-Yourself Pyramid by those who actually did it themselves. Of course, this stimulates your curiosity, and this is good. It also helps you to want to know and will create for you the true desire to share information. How often is it that one or many of you will discover some startling new insight and want to take it home to a friend and say, "Have I discovered something today?" When your curiosity is satiated, then you go out and share the information, whatever it might be. Understand that it is not so much what you say or discover, it is the desire within you to do it that is so important. I can assure you that many of these civilizations that come visiting have waning amounts of that desire. They have some, or they wouldn't be here in the first place. They wouldn't get here at all if they didn't feel some connection to you. All of the civilizations that come here have been involved in the seeding process on this planet. Negativity and compassion. So-called positivity and negativity are not good and bad, they are the necessary ingredients that got you here. So I'll ask you to drop a little of your judgment about those discomforts, even the ones you've heard about and wouldn't care to experience. Because discomforts sure did get you here as a race and as individuals in your now bodies. Some of you could give everybody a real thrill with the discomforts you've experienced in your life. They would bring a few tears. Why tears? It is because you have compassion as a race. You have basic emotions that you all share. Though they may be covered up from time to time, they are there. And even the toughest, roughest human being will shed a tear at one time or another in their lives, struggling to choke them back. Why compassion? So you won't wander out there and bring miscellaneous destruction to other planets, but instead want to know, to share, to be with them and to help. You rediscover yourself, and so you are ready, it's time to serve the soup. And those beings who float around in their UFOs? You can't see them most of the time, sometimes you can, but they are here to celebrate. Be willing to laugh at the experiences you've had and laugh with yourself and with others, and while you're laughing, allow it to be compassionate. After all, if you saw a suffering child or animal, you would feel compassionate and you would do something. You have suffered. It was your choice on the soul level to come here to do that. You have suffered, every one of you. All of you experience some suffering in your life, so you will not lose touch with the human being. It is so you will remember why you came here and then celebrate the release of suffering. I will not say that heaven on earth will be formed immediately, but you will begin a process toward heaven, which I will call Terra. The reimaging of you living on the planet Terra in this space at a quicker dimension, that is heaven on earth. It is the reimaging of that, you, there. It's there now, you are going to join it. So the second coming, which is predicted throughout all religions, regardless of how it is couched in words or innuendo, is about the coming home of all of you and the alignment of your soul, spirit selves with your God selves consciously. It's not about somebody coming here to save you. I'm not saying that people should drop their religions or beliefs, I am saying personalize them. Do not stop believing in a greater God or all that is, if that is comfortable for you. But be aware that you are a portion of it. You are not separated from it, although the experience of separation has been a reality for you in this civilization's history, as well as in your individual lives to some extent. It has been a reality, so you would want this stuff, so that you could see the distinction between that which is uncomfortable and that which is comfortable and go for the comfort, set your sights on that, and align your desires with that which is desirable. There have been messages in the past that have said, well, you're going to be saved soon. Those messages were not false. Their interpretation may not be exactly what you will experience now. Why are these religious documents always written in code? They are always written in code in this civilization so that some would know and would be ready to lead. In a sense, they were like little flags. You can read any of your biblical tomes, and after you read them you will have one big experience, you will have questions. The purpose of those books is to pique your curiosity, which is like everybody else's here. Deciphering the codes is the goal of the present. Often you will work on something difficult, and when you understand it, it is almost like, so what? Because the experience of deciphering was so much of the fun. Why is this? Because you are curious. You were created here by yourselves with the All-God, that is so that you would enjoy the experience of getting from A to B, not necessarily being thrilled by B. It is the getting there that counts. You will have plenty of opportunities in the future to grow beyond what you have been. In the past, much of this growth was rather difficult. It won't be so hard in the future because what's falling away is a resistance. It is not a completion like, let's go home, the play's over. It means Act 1 is completed. Act 2 is going to be a lot easier because you will be able to use all of you. The experience of separation will be on the wane. You will be able to use all of you, your emotions, your spirit, your mind and your bodies aligned, working together as one unit consciously by your choice. It is part of the bargain when you come here to give up your absolute knowledge of who you are in totality so that you can have the joy of discovery throughout your years. Why do babies laugh and enjoy life? Why do they smile even before they can see out of their eyes? Why do so-called senile adults do the same thing? Because they experience the joy of discovery. They come in with that joy, they get a little bit confused, then they rediscover it again. That's what life is all about, to enjoy and to experience as much as you can of what it has to offer so you can be distilled, as it were, into the finest you that you came here to appreciate. The return of joy and self-approval. So recognize that the emotions that you feel you've been denied will to some extent be coming to earth as a felt experience now. You will be giving yourself these things because your need for approval will begin to drop away. You will notice that historically and even politically it has been gradually happening. Certain groups have come out of hiding, saying, "It's okay to be who we are, and we don't care what anybody thinks." I can assure you, my friends, that even if you don't like that, you're going to see more of it. These people are gradually going to give themselves the approval they have sought from others. A lot of what's falling away is judgment, especially self-judgment. That's where you're going. Just think how it would be if you didn't have to live up to somebody else's restricted ideas of what the world is. Now, I'm not talking about becoming criminals and saying, "This is great, I'll go down the street blasting away with my Tommy gun." That kind of behavior has occurred because those folks didn't get what they needed. They didn't get approval. They didn't get the appreciation as children, maybe, for being who they are. Maybe they even allowed themselves to be created in discomforting lives such as that so they could serve others' needs for discomfort. I'd like you to consider that. The criminal pool, as I like to say, is no different from a typing pool. When someone needs to have discomfort, there better darn well be someone there to provide that discomfort, or it's not going to happen, and you're not going to be distilled to become the amazing people who you are now. As that need for discomfort begins to fall away, the people who have chosen to be criminals in this life will not need to be criminals anymore. They can go on and do other things. They can have the fun that other people have, and they won't need to be burglars or safecrackers. Maybe they'll have some memories about it, but they won't need to be criminals because no one will need to have their house burglarized to have that discomfort. This will come about to a great extent in most of your lifetimes. This is your reward. You saw it go the other way, as you judge it. Now you're going to see it come back. You're going to discover who you are consciously in this lifetime between the moments of babyhood and so-called senility, meaning rediscovery of the multidimensional self. That's how I define senility. Maybe if you can have differentiation, then you won't need judgment or incrimination, approval or disapproval. Differentiation does not necessarily mean judgment as it has in the past, but a feeling of your own harmonic vibrations and allowing yourself to be attracted to others of an equal and supportive harmonic vibration. If you can allow yourself to be attracted to those you are going to vibrate best with, then you're going to be able to let go of all those emotions of the past because you're going to be able to begin to trust your physical body. Appreciating your body and emotions. You're going to begin to appreciate and approve of your physical body, not as it could be but as it is, for your physical body constantly gives you messages from your emotions. And your emotions not only interact with your physical world and the past as you've experienced it in this life, but, if you can differentiate, they're going to tell you about the harmonics in your physical self that exist right now. Your emotions are going to help you to know that if you're listening to a radio station, which you all are, in a sense, maybe you're 106 on the FM dial, you're going to know another 106 by the way your body feels and gives you its messages. In the past, it hasn't felt safe to allow the emotions to speak to your physical body because the trust wasn't there. Why? Because someone told you at one time or another, maybe many times, "Think before you speak, my dear, or you will surely make a fool of yourself." You may respond to some discomfort of your past or to some inspiration from your soul requesting you to say something, almost like an answer to a question that another person hasn't asked. And instead of questioning that, you will begin to say things that don't necessarily follow what has been said. In a sense, that is what channeling is all about. That is what psychic experiences are all about. That is what inspiration, which is from your soul, is all about. Appreciating your body and emotions. You're going to begin to appreciate and approve of your physical body, not as it could be but as it is, for your physical body constantly gives you messages from your emotions. And your emotions not only interact with your physical world and the past as you've experienced it in this life, but, if you can differentiate, they're going to tell you about the harmonics in your physical self that exist right now. Your emotions are going to help you to know that if you're listening to a radio station, which you all are, in a sense, maybe you're 106 on the FM dial, you're going to know another 106 by the way your body feels and gives you its messages. In the past, it hasn't felt safe to allow the emotions to speak to your physical body because the trust wasn't there. Why? Because someone told you at one time or another, maybe many times, think before you speak, my dear, or you will surely make a fool of yourself. You may respond to some discomfort of your past or to some inspiration from your soul requesting you to say something, almost like an answer to a question that another person hasn't asked. And instead of questioning that, you will begin to say things that don't necessarily follow what has been said. In a sense, that is what channeling is all about. That is what psychic experiences are all about. That is what inspiration, which is from your soul, is all about. It isn't extrapolated or distilled only from the mind. The total you comes to you and initiates the experience. It communicates immediately and directly to your physical body through your emotions. Your inspiration comes from your soul straight into the emotions, into the physical body, and the last one to find out about it is your mind. Your mind screams at you everything you've ever known or heard through your life, approval, disapproval and all that stuff. But now things are changing. You may not have to come up against things anymore. Maybe now you'll notice the gaps and spaces that you haven't seen before. Maybe now you'll come up against something and it won't feel so hard or so difficult. Maybe you'll see the doors and you'll go through them and say, wait a minute. Maybe this isn't the only way to do it. Dad told me years ago that it had to be done like this, and if it wasn't done like this it was wrong. Or maybe you don't even remember Dad telling you that. Maybe you're used to denying yourself those things that you really want, it seems so harmless. Maybe you compensate by occasionally giving yourself outbursts of anger that seem to come from nowhere to release that denial, that cork in the bottle that says, I don't understand. Maybe you release that old disapproval. Maybe Dad was a fine person but didn't understand the cork on the bottle, didn't understand who you were. Maybe Dad, or Mom, didn't know, for example, that you are unique and could do things differently from him. That doesn't make him a bad person. It just means those were the times, and they were there to distill you into the person you are now. You no longer need to figure out what Dad said 20 or 30 or 50 years ago that often causes you to do the things you really don't want to do and seems to cause you to march to the beat of a drum that was never intended for your unique self. Maybe you wear a white suit and a red tie on a day when it looks like it's going to rain. Maybe you get wet. Maybe you say, so what? Maybe it doesn't seem like such a big deal anymore. Maybe the rain feels good to you. Maybe you think it's pretty funny the way you look, kind of disheveled. Maybe that's all right. Maybe you don't need so much approval from others. Instead of remembering all of the details of your childhood and how you got to be who you are, maybe you can allow those emotions to not be so important, the ones that say, you must be. Because we've always been, or, in order to get my approval, you will have to be. The time has arrived. The clock rings the bell that says, that's all over now. And you will notice these days, as you cast your eyes about at the babies that are being born, that they look kind of sparkly and seem to show talents and abilities that give you a certain thrill and excitement. You say, I wish my folks had let me be that unique. But I guess I can let go of my judgment and anger at my folks for doing what they did to me and begin to realize that what they did was with me so that I could come to this magic moment called harmonic convergence. Harmonic. You all have a unique vibration. You all interact best with other individuals who are within the range of that vibration. No vibration is exactly the same between individuals, including past and future lives. You have the soul connection, yes, but the vibration may be a little different. Maybe you used to be a man, maybe you used to be a woman, maybe you were a different race and so on. It won't be exactly the same, but you'll have a range of that vibration where you will get the most out of the experience with that individual. Trust and appreciation. Maybe you'll meet someone somewhere innocuously, innocently, in the supermarket, as I like to say, and you'll get a feeling for that person. You'll look at them and smile and they'll smile back at you, and it will feel genuine. Maybe your eyes will lock and you'll feel a friend. Maybe you won't be so quick to say, but that's not how friends are supposed to happen. Maybe you won't have to disapprove so much of the idea of meeting someone and interchanging ideas and experiences with them just like that. Telling them your life story, as many of you who've ridden on a bus or a plane have noticed. You'll have experiences with someone sitting next to you. You will tell them your life story, they'll tell you their life story. You will tell life stories all over the place. And it will feel kind of safe. Why? Because you have a pretty good idea that you'll never see this person again, and who are they going to tell? Probably people you don't even know. Understand that it's a time when that experience, the plane, train, bus experience, will be more in your life. The future is going to bring trust that's generated from within because you physical beings are beginning to trust your physical bodies, to trust that your emotions can hear from your spirit the stimulations that apply to your unique vibrations. They might be completely different from those of your friends or neighbors or compadres who live down the street or in the next country, and that's okay. It's about self-appreciation. I assure you, my friends, once you begin to really appreciate who you are, it will be oh so easy to receive that appreciation from others about who you are, and oh so easy to give that appreciation to others about who they are. We're talking about the falling off, in a sense, of the old shell that said, I'm not safe. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep you away from me, because I'm frightened of this world. After all, when I was born, the first thing that happened was that some complete stranger hit me on the backside and said, "Welcome to planet Earth." So I found out right away that Earth wasn't a safe place, and it's been one thing after another since then. What's going on for you now is getting over that experience. The doctor didn't slap you on the bottom because he or she took one look at you and said, but for what they felt at the time was a real good reason. To wake you up and see if there's anything going on in there. And in your near future, as well as in the present in some of your areas of the world right now, all birthing is changing. Birthing's going to be a lot easier. It's going to seem more natural because it will involve you with the elements of the earth rather than take you away from them. You will be with people who are in your harmonic vibration, people who will be consciously experiencing the emotions that would be just right for you to feel, people who will be helping you with attracting the feminine principle as well as projecting the masculine principle. People and maybe even what you might call animals will be there who will feel good to you, and no one else will be allowed. So it will be easier because it won't just be cheering crowds, it will be people you would seek to be with at all times and appreciate being with at a time like that. And you know, when you're not up against it and struggling, things are so much easier. Even the so-called built-in struggles for the human race will gradually begin to be built out. Some of you who are aware of water birthing, pay attention. It is the coming wave, it is occurring now. Why is the ocean made up of a saline solution, the same stuff you are, in its natural state? Because it calls you and asks you to come home at the time of bringing in new life. So the future will bring, among other things, birthing in the ocean. And there will be spaces created for mothers so that they can feel safe. The people they want to be there, as well as those who need to be there, will all be in the ocean. And the baby will come out continuing to do what it's been doing inside mom for 9 months, swimming right out, expecting to be in a saline environment. If you allow your oceans to become who they are rather than trying to fashion them into garbage dumps and other things, Mother Ocean will return to being that welcoming place for new life. Allowance. That's one of the things that will happen in the future, which you will all live to see, without exception. It's happening right now in some places, and the idea is beginning to spread. Other things will come about as well. And they will be all aligned with the harmonic that says, I'm okay just for being. People will be allowed to be who they are, and that is all you can do. You allow, or you wouldn't be here. Allowance is not something you have to learn. You wouldn't be here on Earth in this fabulous experiment called the human race if you didn't have allowance. I can assure those who have never been here that you're out there somewhere living in your culture, living what your culture wants you to do and getting ready to meet an Earth person someday face to face. Oh boy, the amazing Earth people you've been hearing so much about in your folklore and literature. Get ready to meet them, they're on the way, they're just about ready. And when the time is just right, I can assure you that you won't travel sitting on these long tubes that have rocket engines pushing you away somewhere. You'll be sitting in vehicles that use the power of attraction, the feminine principle, to pull you somewhere. The others will use the power of projection, the equalizing energy, to greet you when you get there so you won't crash through the planet. It won't do you much good if you get there in little pieces. You'll use attraction and projection equally, which is balance, masculine and feminine in balance. As you come into more balance yourself, your future vehicles will be experiencing balanced energy as well. You haven't had those vehicles here in this culture yet on this planet because you haven't been ready. But now you are, and you will see discoveries in science coming out. You will think, perhaps, why didn't that come out years ago? We could have gotten to the moon so much faster. But you'll catch yourself and say, maybe we weren't ready. Maybe now is the time. How often have you heard from your channels, from entities, from your spirit's inspiration, now is the time. This means that time is now, in every moment. You will begin to appreciate the significance of that so much more in the future of these lives as you notice life. Instead of passing by in a blur, when you notice life in the now, when you're in the moment of life physically, emotionally, mentally and spiritually, you miss nothing. You appreciate artists because they show you pictures or objects in a way that you hadn't considered before. Artists miss nothing. They see the details. You are beginning to see the details of your life unfold before you. And your harmonic time now will be the alignment of your own harmonic with the harmonic of the universe. All of you, your Earth, your solar system and everywhere becoming one consciously. Not just knowing it, not just trusting it, but really feeling it, really doing it, that is applied knowledge. For you might know something, you might think about it, you might consider it, but if you do not follow up on it and do it physically, it is not real knowledge. You get up one morning and you appreciate the sunrise. You don't look down, you look up, because you know that that sunrise is going to be up there. That is applied knowledge.